welcome back to my channel. I'm Emerald the Quilter and I have been quilting along with the Spring Mystery Quilt 2023 of Laundry Basket Quilts. We're finally on week 6. Today in this video I'm going to show you how to take all your flower blocks and then piece them together in these beautiful large blocks. I had a lot of fun making these and I'm going to show you how I make them. Maybe you'll learn a little something new. If you do things different, leave me a comment below. And I want to let you know that I'm going to split week 6 into 2 parts. So in this video, we're just going to focus on how to piece it together, including these 2 hexagon flowers. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how to applique the branches, the leaves, and the remaining hexagon flowers. So stay tuned and let's get started. I love seeing all of my flower blocks together. The colors are vibrant, they're so pretty. I love the choice and scrappy prints that I selected. And I found it really easy to put the entire block together by looking at the entire block on the free PDF. So if you haven't downloaded yours yet, I know I've been repeating it often, but I'm gonna say it again, get your PDF for free before Laundry Basket Quilts takes it down from their blog, because then it's going to be a paid pattern. So I have mine all here. There is one unit of the background fabrics that is missing, and that's only because I did not have enough for that one last piece, and it was the end unit. And so that's just the additional border that goes perpendicular to the border F. And so once that fabric comes in, I'll add it, but everything else is here. And the first thing I need to do is begin organizing it. So I'm going to set these aside. And I also have my extra, well, this one's extra for the back, and then these are going to be appliqued down on the top afterwards. So I've set those off to the side, and I'm going to do everything facing me because that's what's going to be easier. And of course I have my PDF right next to me. So let's see. First I'm going to need my M, and these are alphabetties. I find them super helpful. I use them all the time, especially with projects like this where the quilt has so many different units to it, and they're, you know, none of them are the same size. So let me see. Then I need one of these dark ones, and then I need an O. This is the O. Okay, and then I need my E's and B's. I'm going to have to show you how to applique these down. I use the recommended technique from the original YouTube video that came out for this week, and that was using a zigzag stitch. So I did the same technique and I really enjoyed it because it was quick and easy, and I used the same thread color as my background fabric and it came out real nice. Then I need one of these 9 patches. It's going to go here off to the side, and then I need a G. And so once you have, if you take the time to label all of your units, I promise you, you are going to thank yourself in the end, because it just makes everything very convenient. Then I need my B, which is going to go down here. And I may have to scoot this up for myself just a little bit so that I don't run out of room. Okay, then I'm going to get out my beautiful peony, and I need to trim off these edges before I forget, because I did do that for the other blocks and they came out really nice when I chopped them off. So these little ears have got to go. Okay, just a few more, and they're just going all the way around. All the way around. Okay, this is trash. And this peony block goes right next to my E unit here. And then I have my other 9 patches that make sort of a rectangular 4 patch over here. And those are these 2. And what's nice is that I can use my my blocks that I've already made on my design wall as a reference. So I need 2 of these. These 2 go here. These 2 go here. And then I need, I believe this is the C. It is C. Okay. And so once I'm done with my alphabet, I just put it into a pile so those can go back into my little baggie later. And then I need my, I forgot what these were called. Were they tulips? They might have been tulips. I know this one is facing towards me, and then this one is facing up, and then there were the H's in between. So these skinny little rectangular units are gonna fit on the top, on the bottom, and in the middle. And then we've got one long piece, which might be the I. I believe this is the I. I'm going to hold it up to my wall and see if that's what it is. Yep, it's the I. And then I have my leaves. So here's one leaf. And here's the other leaf. I love that green. I love that green. That collection is from the original green line. The new one is called Green Thumb by Laundry Basket Quilts, but the original one was evergreen. This one is going to go next to my leaf here on my right. And this, I believe, is J. Yes, it is. This is J. Okay. So I've got my J right underneath my peony. This is going off to the side. And I'm just taking it 1 unit at a time. So then my L goes underneath my 9 patch off here to the side. And then I have a K, which goes underneath the double colored leaf, and then I am left with A and F. So my A unit is going to go, where's my A unit going to go? This one, for this one I'm going to have to scroll back up. Okay, so my A unit is coming up here. So it's in between. It looks like you've got 2 rectangles, but it's in between the leaf section and the 9 patches. Okay, and I'm just looking at my wall to make sure that's right, and it sure is. And so F, I'm going to worry about it later because that's a border, okay? And so we're all ready. Your table should look like this. Everything is laid out in the order that it needs to go. Before I forget, this needs to go here, okay? And we're going to start with putting these units into larger units first. And we're going to follow, for the most part, the order that is on the blog. And I'm just going to put them onto my big design board right here so that I can carry them over like a pizza without them getting messed up. So this is how I like to do it when the units are all different. And normally I would have piece the entire quilt with like every 4 of a kind at once, but because I made this video, I wanted to just take it one step at a time. And so I'm going to start with this first, and I'm going to try not to take more than what I can carry. And I'm always putting them in the order that they go. So I'm going to turn this around for you, and that way you can see. So these two, it's very easy for me to tell that the seam goes here, the seams are in between the tulips here, and this is what the unit should be, what it should look like, and so it is placed exactly as is. And I'm going to take these to the sewing machine and piece them together so that when I bring them back, we can see how the quilt is slowly coming together. So I am using Arfil thread color 2310, and I'm just going to take all of my pieces as they are laid out on my design board, and I always start with a leader. I'm using a very small stitch length. And I'm just chunking this very large block into pieces so that I keep everything organized. And this is the kind of quilt that takes a lot of patience, especially with all the handwork that was involved. Totally worth it, by the way. So if you've been stuck on your English paper piecing, get it done. Promise you, once you're all done with your English paper piecing, you're going to really look forward to doing the applique. So there is applique within this last week. However, because handwork always takes me a long time, and I'm sure it does for some of you too, I'm going to be breaking this video, or I guess what would be this segment, up into 2 parts. So this video will be part 1, and next time I come on will be part 2, because I'm going to need some time to prepare my little branches, or stems, I should say. And I will definitely show you how I do those and then put it together just like the way I'm showing you here. Now I'm ready to add an ender so I can cut off the pieces that I've pieced together without wasting thread. And then I'm just going to put these back where they go, and I'm going to finger press them open. I'm pressing also my pieces towards the flat background side. And I'm looking to see where these are going to go. Let's see, it would help if I could rotate them a little bit now. So I'm going to put this one here, this one here, and this one I'm going to press towards the background. That one goes off to the side, and then this one goes right up here. So these are alternating, and I'm going to snip these leaders off and press those to the sashing. Okay, and my stripe one goes on top with my super bloom tulip facing down. And so that's gonna look like this. This one is all done, so I'm gonna set it off to the side because I'm gonna have to take that back to my cutting table where everything is still at. And I'm ready to just keep going. Making one block really doesn't take a whole lot of time. what I would recommend, and actually what I forgot to do for this video, is appliquing your English paper piece flowers down first. I did do that when I was just having fun sewing by myself. That way I didn't have to like stop and change feet and then change feet again. But I was just kind of really looking forward to making this video, and I forgot to do that. But that's okay, because you know it's gonna get done anyways. All right, so just check always that my seams are facing the right direction. And I did add a pin to the bottom since there's quite a bit of length on these two units. I don't want one unit to get pulled more than the other, and I forgot to put an ender there. Like sometimes once I start going, I just kind of forget a few little steps. All right, now this one needs one more piece of sashing, which is here, and this one can be just pressed to any side. Just gonna press that way, and I'm gonna sew this unit here and then this here. Then they will be ready to be pressed flat. So I'm gonna press them flat at the end so that I don't have to keep going back and forth between the iron and my chair. Just making sure my seams are facing correctly. One was accidentally flipped, so it's always good to check. Okay, and these, whoops, let me get an ender in there before I forget again. These are looking good. My edges match up, and I'm gonna take them to the ironing board so that I can show you how the block is coming along with these as they are now. I'm gonna need my pins for this next part because I don't wanna mess up with this long piece here. And I'm just gonna add one, maybe two. Sometimes it's good enough just for me to gently hold it into place, but I think I did add one or two pins when I was just sewing on my own earlier today, so I'm going to go ahead and do that again, and definitely just one for here so that they don't get messed up. I was really happy that I didn't lose my points with the peony blocks, and I don't want to make that mistake now that I've gotten this far. Okay, so I have on my design board the top 3 units, which are going to go along the outer sides of the quilt. I have my tulips, and of course you saw my 9 patches with my peony, and then 1 9 patch with the rectangle. That goes more towards the center of the quilt. And I've seen so many beautiful quilts. Even people have added borders to these quilts to make them bigger, and I was considering doing the same thing, but I'm still undecided with that because I'm not sure that I have like enough border or a border that would stand out. I definitely have one border that is the main print of Super Bloom in with the white background, large floral, really pretty. They're like big pink mums, but I just don't know that that would work for this quilt. If I could, I think using some teal would be really pretty. We'll see. But for now, no plans to add border, but the ones with borders, they're just gorgeous. really gorgeous. And I saw also a quilt where someone made 4 of these quilts and then put them together to make a large bed-size quilt, and that one was just amazing, and it had all the applique too. It was amazing, amazing. And so many people have them quilted. Not me, not me. So my machine, my Baby Lock Allegro, is still in the shop. Oh, so painful because my quilts are starting to pile on, and I did sign up for a long arm class. So good, so exciting. It was a really great value, close to home I think it's in Sugar Land, Texas. The quilt shop is called It Seems to Be So, I believe. And it was recommended to me by some ladies at the Quilt Guild of Greater Houston in one of our meetings. And so I signed up for the class, and I take that later this month. I think I sewed this on wrong. Did I sew this on wrong? I think I was supposed to sew it to this side. I think so. Yep, I did. I'm gonna have to rip this one out. So I signed up for the class, and once I take that, I will be able to start renting the machine. And I didn't know that there was a long arm that could be rented out anywhere in my area. Like, I have read that some places, more central United States, have even libraries where there are long arms in the libraries. It sounds way too good to be true, but there was none of that here when I went hunting on the internet. And yep, I went to It Seems to Be So, or So It Seems to Be, and they have 2 long arm machines, and I was so excited. I signed up for a class immediately. So I can't wait to do that, and then possibly finally start catching up on my quilts. And I'm gonna have to pick and choose which ones are gonna wait for my machine to come back home, because I definitely don't think all of them need to be quilted on a long arm machine, but like, for example, this one, I think it would be gorgeous to go ahead and do that. So I am gonna rip this out. It's gonna start from the top, bring it down a little bit, and then just rip it real good. Sometimes this happens, but that looks like it was the only one that came undone, and so that's easy to fix, but it's a lot better than picking them all out one at a time. So this is gonna have to go here. I'm gonna add my pins again. Just like so, checking my corners. And if you ever need to rip out your seams, you can't use the method I just did more than once, because you could damage your fabric. So just be careful if you try to imitate what I just did. And I have messed up my fabric before. It's not fun because, you know, fabric is expensive. Okay. And speaking of buying fabric, the border that I was missing, I needed about half a yard left. Like, that was it. I was so close, and I'm so glad that I was able to get like almost the entire quilt background from a remnant that I had. But what was awesome was that this particular print is from an older line called Sonoma. It's one of Edita Sitar's, I think, original like background bundle, and it's been out of print for a while. It's not even on Andover anymore, and I couldn't find it. anywhere. And then finally I found one seller on eBay that was selling it, and you won't believe it, it was just at the regular cost. So I didn't pay any crazy amount of money for 1 yard. It was just normal. And so that is coming in within a week's time, and then I'll be able to continue. So yay. Okay, I'm just gonna close these little pits of seams that I accidentally opened with a few stitches. I'm just going over that. And I think that there was one more, yep, right here. So you can see where it came undone just a little bit. And I'm gonna double check that the rest are okay. Well, it would help if I didn't run out of bobbin thread. So I ran out. I'm gonna have to go either find another one or wind another one. So I'll be back. I'm back and my bobbin is full now. I did fix that seam, so they are all good to go. I will take these little pieces off once I'm ready, and you can see how it's just squishing together. And this is going to be one larger unit. This is going to be one large unit. And of course, I can't sew these to that until these are combined. And after that, I'm gonna have to stop and get these down onto the background fabric. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. Mine came out pretty nice. Let me show you. There you go. So I used just a itty bitty little zigzag stitch, and there's some thread that's gonna be pulled to the back. And I haven't taken out my paper yet because I've been dreading it, so I haven't done that. But yeah, these look really good. And let's get the other pieces together. We are getting so close to the end now. Like I said, these pieces, once you have them made, they go by nice and quick, and you have a beautiful result. This quilt makes me want to sew the, I think it's called the Quilter's Garden or the Patchwork Garden. It's also, of course, by Laundry Basket Quilts, and I have that book. I got it for Christmas, and I have not made it, but I feel inspired. This one is going to go here. Now there was a template that you could print and tape together on Laundry Basket Quilt's original YouTube video. They showed these taped together templates all rolled up so that you could like make sure that you had everything where it was. And I can't remember if that was for the pieced units or the applique. I think it might have been the pieced units, but when you lay them out the way that I did, and if you don't have a large cutting table, you can use like your floor. It makes it easy. So I didn't have to print out the template. Let's see, where does this go? I'm looking at my wall right now. Okay, this is gonna go here. This is gonna go underneath this one, just like that. And then I'm gonna press this one towards the background fabric. All right. Just like this, right? Yes. Okay, so now this one still has some threads that need to be pulled out, and I'm going to make sure not to get any of the threads that have frayed. They're mostly over here, it looks like. And I'm just being really careful. It's easier to get them out now than later, so if you have the patience to do it, I suggest that you do. Once you sew over them, they can kind of get stuck. Okay, and get my pins out again for these 2 units. Just 2 more seams. I try to make my tutorials clear and easy to follow, so if you like them, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. You can leave me a comment below, and let's take a look at how we're going. And don't forget to subscribe, because that really helps make my channel more discoverable to others who have our same interests. Just this one. And then actually, I can sew these 2 together. I wanted to give these 2 units a quick press so that you could see how it's coming along. I have this last seam to do before I can sew it here, and then of course I'm gonna have to stop completely, put on a new foot, and then applique these down. So I can't wait to show you how to do that. There's a couple different ways that you can do it on the machine. You could do a straight stitch just right there at the edge, or you could do what I did, which is just a little zigzag stitch. And I like doing the zigzag stitch. It came out really nicely. And so we're going to take this last piece here, these 2, to the machine and get that big old piece sewn together. For this seam, I'm going to place a pin in this intersection right here, and also a pin on either side. Since this is a long piece, I don't want it to get messed up. I already have a leader. And I'm just checking my edges as I go. When you have a lot of length in your fabric, there's more room for waves, and sometimes those waves can be permanent, so they're not always able to be quilted out. So So it's important for you to try to keep your corners matching as much as possible. Now this needs to be pressed and then pinned again to the peony block. I'm going to do that and be right back. For this last seam, I have 4 pins and I have my units with English paper piecing flowers ready to go. I'm going to show you how to center those in just a moment, but let's get this pressed open and back onto the table so that we can focus on these. And I just keep on checking my fabric, making sure both edges of the fabric match up. And as I get closer to the intersection with multiple seams of the peony, I'm just gonna slow down so that my fabric doesn't jerk. And then I can speed back up again. Almost forgot to put another ender. There we go. Okay, this is ready. I'm gonna press it, move it back to the table, and we're gonna get an open-toed foot. So while I am setting my machine up, make sure that you get one that looks, I'm gonna find it, that looks like this, okay? So mine has the clear plastic. Some of them don't have this clear plastic, but what you are looking for is this large oval space so that your needle can go back and forth, back and forth. So as I'm getting mine ready, get this one out. Okay, I have my foot swapped out and we are going to center this flower onto the background. All right, just want to make sure you can see. The first thing we're going to do is fold this background fabric in half. We're going to press. This is going to give us a line that we can follow. Open it back up, fold it in half the other way, and press again. Again, we're going to have a line to help us follow. These lines are going to allow us to align our flower just right. Then along this edge with the sides, we're going to fold it in half, just like so. And you don't have to fold this in half again because we're going to align our flower to our background with the stitch line down the middle. So the stitch line is going to go on here and on here. And then I'm going to just move this over until my folded line of the flower matches the folded line of the background fabric. And that is how you line up your flower. Then I get 2 pins and I just hold it in place. I'm going to pin it to the center, lay it back down. I see that I've shifted it just a little bit, so I'm going to repin it, check again, looks good, and I'm going to add another pin. So I'm making an X with my 2 pins. This one is ready. I'm going to show you again with the next one. So again, we fold the background in half, press to make a line, open it up, fold it the other way to make another line. all your corners should match. If your lines that you made when you folded your fabric were not straight, then your flower is not going to be aligned correctly. So now, one more time, we're going to fold our flower with the sides exposed and press. So we've got a line going across our flower, and I'm going to align it here and here, and then I'm going to check, oh, that fell on it just right, that this stitch line is aligned to my folded line on both sides, and it is. So again, I'm just going to pin it into place, and I'm going to check it. That looks good. I'm going to pin it one more time, making an X, and I'm going to check it, and that looks good. So now I'm going to reset the camera so that you can see how I make my little zigzags. So I've got my block under here, and I'm going to post a picture of the stitch width and length that I selected. I just messed around with it until I found something that I liked. And then I'm going to slowly bring down my first stitch right off of the hexagon, and then I'm going to start just going slowly, checking to make sure that one stitch is on the flower and one stitch is off. And once I get towards the corner, I get very close and make a turn. Going slowly again. I love my up-down button that I have just for this reason, because I've noticed that with my foot, even if I press it really slowly sometimes, it will make like 2 stitches instead of just the one that I wanted. And turn again. I'm just going to scoot over a little bit. The foot of my camera stand is kind of right up next to me, and I have to be careful. Okay. And this is much faster than doing it by hand, which is why I did it this way. I am using the same color thread as my my piecing, because I am considering using this color thread for the quilting as well, or one almost just like it. And I know that this color is going to look very nice because it's typically a thread color that I use with laundry basket quilts in the past, and they've all come out really nice. So one more, and if you mess up a few stitches, like if you have your stitches all on the flower, well, at least it's secured. If you have a few stitches where it's only in the background fabric, and if it's just a few and you use this technique, well, it's still on there, it's secured. And so it just depends on how much it bothers you, if you're going to want to unpick or just go over it again. There were a few spots in 1 or 2 flowers where I did a few stitches completely on the hexagon instead of one on the background fabric and one on the flower. And just holding it back a couple feet from me, it's not even noticeable. And so here I am noticing that when I lift this foot up, it's going to be too far away to the right. So what I do is that I just move my fabric over so that the next stitch to the left is where I need it to land, and problem solved. And the same thing happened again here, so I'll just move it back. And you can see that I'm more than halfway done now. I'm just going to get this out of the way, because it's There, okay. I definitely recommend that you do these all at once, so don't do what I did. Do them all together so you don't have to change your feet. Okay, and I like to just go over like 1/4 of an inch and then take it out. Then what I do is I pull the thread to the back. So I just give this a tug and it will typically like create a loop. Can you see my little loop there? Let's see if I can get the angle just right. There, you can kind of see it right there. And that is gonna pull the thread from the front. And then I do it again with the other one. And sometimes the second one is not always successful. Oh, and look, there's my loop coming through. And this one right here. And I'm just gonna pull that loop. And then I don't have any threads on the front. And what I do is I just like twist them like this. And then I just lay them on the fabric. I leave a little bit of length, that way they don't go to the front. And then once you quilt over this, it's gonna adhere to the batting and it will stay in place much more than if you like just snip it right at the stitches. So that's what I like to do. Let's do the second one together. And it's always important to remember where you are in your zigzag so you can go needle up and then, you know, adjust. So I was in the right space, it's now going to the left. And I can just keep going, and I'm gonna go a little faster this time now that I've already done one. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to finish stitching my last few units off camera just because it's a lot to like adjust my camera stand back and forth, and then we will meet back at the table once they're all together. And yes, my paper is still in here. So I did follow the instructions with that to leave the paper in. And I'm noticing that it does help keep the background fabric really flat. I am looking forward to seeing how easily or difficult the paper comes out, as I did not use an actual template, so we're gonna figure that out together. But my second flower is all done, and I'm gonna get some of these units together so that you can see what it looks like. So this piece came out really nice. It's flat and it's exactly the size that I need it to be. The edges match up, and I'm going to pin it down in place. I'm going to add a few, especially on those seams that are facing towards the foot of my machine, because I don't want them to get tucked the other way. So I'm putting like 5 on this one. Okay, I will run my stitch along here and then I'll be back. I stitched this together and now I'm just taking a look to see if my units are matching up, and I can see that my bottom one is like just a little bit larger, kind of scooted, but it's somewhere in between like 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna cut it. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to work it into the seam. You always put your longer fabric on the bottom so that the teeth help distribute the extra fabric along the seam, and then once you press it, it flattens out. And so I'm just gonna tug and then add a pin in the middle, and then I'm just gonna add like 2 pins this time in between for a total of 7. And I'm getting that seam that's facing my teeth again. And once I press it flat, you'll see how it all worked in nicely. Okay, let me take this to the machine, stitch across, and then I will meet you back here. So you can see how I worked in that little bit of extra fabric and it came out just fine. It's very flat. There is nothing like no puckers, no obvious waves on the back or the front, and so that worked really nicely. The very last seam is this border, and my bottom actually came out so much better than the top of my unit. And I'm going to do the same thing by pinning. This is the very last seam that I'm going to do with you guys today. Again, I'm just waiting on a little bit more fabric to come in from eBay. And so once that's here, I'll be able to complete my part 2 of this week quilt along. And in the following week, I'm going to show you how to applique the remaining hexagon flowers and the branches and leaves. So make sure you stay tuned. And if you like my videos, please leave me a comment. I really appreciate it when you like my videos, when you subscribe. It just helps other quilters or other people maybe who want to learn how to quilt find my videos. And I'm gonna sew this right here and I'm gonna show it to you up close. I added that last border and it came out so pretty. I love it. It's such a nice big block, and I love how all the colors come together. This is the last of 4, so I can add this right here. And once my little bit of background fabric comes in the mail, I'm gonna add that last border and start working on the part 2 of this week's quilt along. So thank you so much for piecing this quilt with me. I hope you enjoyed it, maybe learned a little something new. And if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.